In the heart of ancient Persia, beneath the golden glow of Persepolis' evening sky, power was as much a dance in shadows as it was a demonstration in grandeur. The satraps, those governors of provinces, wore the mantle of authority with silent precision, their roles as much about balance as dominance. Through Xenophon's accounts we enter their world, a world where the clang of military command met the subtle murmur of civil governance. Here, beneath the watchful eyes of the great king, every whispered secret and grand parade was noted by the legendary king's eyes and ears. For in this land of governors and gold, every figure cast a shadow, ensuring the empire thrummed in harmony, or trembled with trepidation. Such was the mysterious tapestry of Persia, where history echoes with ambition, betrayal, and the ever-present weight of royal scrutiny. Step with me into the rich tapestry of ancient Persia, where the satraps governed with both an iron fist and a velvet glove. Picture yourself wandering through the bustling markets and majestic palaces of Persepolis, where power concerns were as much overheard whispers as bold proclamations. In this world chronicled by historians like Xenophon, Persian governors danced a delicate ballet of intrigue and authority, where each step could be their last. Satraps served dual roles, acting as fierce guardians of military might, while simultaneously maintaining peace as civil administrators. They walked a fine line, balancing authority with subtle diplomacy. Armed to defend the empire's reaches from barbarian incursions, they commanded respect on the battlefield. But in the civic sphere, they were equally tasked with levying taxes, dispensing justice, and ensuring the king's will was done. These leaders managed not just armies, but also the intricate web of politics and power that kept the Persian Empire thriving. Xenophon, the insightful Athenian historian, shed light on this precarious role. Managing resources, ensuring loyalty, and suppressing dissent were just part of the satrap's responsibilities, much like a modern CEO. Yet a mistake here wasn't merely a drop in share value. It could ignite rebellion or worse, incur the king's displeasure. Satraps manoeuvred the political landscape like a chessboard, all under the scrutinous eye of a ruler who granted power yet never let go of the reins. Persepolis was the empire's crowning jewel, a city both breathtaking and oppressive in its grandeur. The grand avenues, adorned with sculptures depicting satraps offering tribute to their king, were a bold reminder of the surveillance that loomed over even the most powerful governors. Beneath the city's opulence lay tension, for here the satraps were reminded of their place, prominent yet perpetually observed by the great king. The rule of these governors extended to every social layer, touching the lives of everyone from wealthy merchants to modest labourers. While some were favoured in the satrap's presence, others shouldered the heavy burdens of tribute and tax. Yet this was not merely a relationship of dominion, it was a symbiotic exchange. As the satrap drew strength from the king, the populace looked to their governor for protection and justice, relying on him to sustain the empire's delicate equilibrium. Though the satraps were the face of power in their provinces, their independence was in constant check by the ubiquitous presence of royal inspectors, or the king's eyes. These secretive agents were woven into the fabric of governance, reporting directly to the king to ensure fealty and efficiency. No governor was safe from this network of informants, which guaranteed that no satrap could consolidate a threatening level of power. Satraps constantly navigated the thin line between autonomy and allegiance. In distant regions like Lydia or Bactria, they might wield their influence akin to minor kings. Still, Their authority was inexorably tied to the king's might. They were expected to embody and enact the king's decrees without hesitation, maintaining loyalty even as they sought the allegiance of their domains. Life in ancient Persia was a dance of complex rituals and beliefs, and satraps adapted to these with a keen understanding. They encountered a rich tapestry of cultures under their jurisdiction, from fire-worshipping rites to Zoroastrian festivals, each tradition unique as the people who celebrated them. Understanding and respecting these customs was key, not just for maintaining order but for cultivating trust and respect among the diverse populations they governed. As the chapter draws to a close, picture the satraps returning to Persepolis, weary from their journeys yet astute and seasoned by their experiences. Their leadership imbued with both ambition and trepidation, they knew all too well the delicate interplay of power and surveillance that defined Persian rule. These men were pivotal in shaping the empire's vast legacy, their influence casting a shadow that endures even today. As guardians of an ancient realm, they wrestled with the vast variance of human nature, navigating the threads of loyalty and authority with deftness and insight. For in their quiet power lay the spirit of Persian governance, an intricate, enduring enigma that continues to captivate us through the ages. In the Grand Persian Empire, beneath the ceremonial grandeur and military might, lay a meticulously crafted web spun from gold and the fruits of the earth, a tribute system that sustained its insatiable hunger for dominance. Picture this: a world where gold was not merely a treasure, but the very glue binding the realms into a cohesive empire. Every province, from the lush valleys of Egypt to the rugged mountains of Central Asia, contributed its piece of this elaborate mosaic. Gold, grains, textiles, and even exotic dyes flowed steadily into Persepolis, symbolising both the reach of the great king and the subtle autonomy granted to his satraps, the regional governors who juggled authority and allegiance. Herodotus, ever the avid storyteller, provides us vivid snapshots of this system, where these satraps doubled as overseers of peace and collectors of tribute. They were the empire's lifeline, maintaining a delicate balance between local governance and imperial demands. This blend of local authority and centralised control showcased the Persian Empire's genius, an ancient powerhouse of organisational sophistication. The satraps embraced their role, wielding regional knowledge to facilitate the collection of tributes ranging from precious metals to livestock and grain. Each gift mirrored the giver, weaving a cultural and economic tapestry stitched together by the countless hands across the empire. The discovery of the Persepolis fortification tablets revealed the bureaucratic precision with which these tributes were managed. Thousands of clay tablets documented every piece of silver, every bushel of barley sent toward the imperial heartland. It was a testament to the empire's dependence on local expertise, as satraps became crucial cogs in the vast machine that was Persia. This nuanced governance allowed provincial pockets to feel heard and respected, cultivating a sense of ownership while ensuring a continuous supply of resources to the heart of the empire. As we peer into this world, the diversity of tributes beckons our attention. Not all provinces sent gold. Some offered jewels of a different nature. Grains from Egypt's fertile lands found their way into granaries as far as Susa. Livestock roamed from brisk pastures to bustling marketplaces. The elusive purple dye, a luxury of Phoenician origin, painted the empire's canvas with hues only royalty could afford. These tributes were more than just economic exchanges. They were cultural offerings that spoke of the empire's richness and its respect for the unique resources each land harboured. The grand treasury of Persepolis was not merely a storehouse, it was a cultural cauldron where diverse elements simmered into a collective, imperial identity. This network of commerce was nothing short of a logistical wonder. The roads and riverways that crisscrossed the empire were its arteries, pulsing with the flow of grain and goods, sustaining the urban populace and armies alike. The empire employed these routes as its lifelines, akin to ancient highways, weaving a tapestry of varied landscapes that bridged distant cultures. The hum of this movement was vital not just for feeding mouths, but also for maintaining the empire's economic health, ensuring prosperity remained a constant under the perpetual threat of famines or revolts. However, the Persian kings knew all too well the darker side of such wealth. History is replete with tales of satraps who succumbed to the allure of power, filling their coffers at the empire's expense. While Herodotus spun tales of opulence, he did not shy away from the human vices that lurked beneath the surface. These moments remind us of corruption's insidious nature, the ever-present shadow in a realm where oversight struggled to match the empire's vastness. This corruption necessitated vigilance, prompting occasional purges to preserve loyalty, as the great king sought to balance the intricacies of power. The tribute system, while undeniably a testament to Persia's prowess, was also its Achilles heel. The prosperity it brought could swiftly transform into vulnerability. A disruption in tribute flows, be it from political upheaval or natural disaster, could send tremors through the empire's foundations. This precarious balance of power and wealth stood as a haunting reminder of the empire's strengths and frailties. In the end, the tribute system represented more than mere economic might. It was also a conduit of culture. The empire's mosaic of people and goods bore testament to a complex interplay of tradition, wealth, and governance. It was a living legacy that influenced countless future civilizations, embedding its wisdom into the DNA of empires yet to rise. Even as the Persian Empire crumbled, its ingenious system of tribute left a mark, echoing through the ages, in the very way empires manage diversity and consolidate power. As we unspool the threads of this tale, the visionary sweep of the Persian tribute resonates, a symphony of human endeavour and ambition, forged in the furnace of history. In the vast expanse of the Persian Empire, where cities lay scattered like stars across the desert night, there emerged a network of shadows and whispers, the eyes and ears of the king. This covert operation, born during the early Achaemenid dynasty, served as the monarch's secret lifeline. As recorded by historians such as Ctesias, these spies formed the kingdom's backbone of intelligence, spanning the empire's vast stretch. They were tasked with maintaining the great king's dominance, silently navigating through the teeming markets and bustling courts, their purpose clear: sniff out whispers of dissent, suppress rebellion, and report directly to the powerful figure enthroned at Persepolis. These royal spies wore the guise of everyday life, blending seamlessly into the rhythm of ancient Persia. Disguised as traders, pilgrims, or common beggars, they adopted the customs and languages of the provinces they inhabited. Their lives, filled with constant vigilance, were a delicate dance of concealment and revelation. By aligning themselves with local culture, they not only gathered intelligence, but also subtly manipulated perceptions, their reports cloaked in the everyday ordinariness to avoid arousing suspicion. Yet what motivated someone to trade personal freedom for a life of secrecy? For some, the reward exceeded the sacrifice. The empire offered land, gold, and a rung higher on its social ladder, a tempting lure for those ready to serve as the sovereign's sentinels. Their missions carried great personal risk, demanding utmost loyalty, for a mere slip could thrust them into isolation. Or worse, death at the hands of offended local governors. Despite this sense of danger, the possibility of influencing imperial strategy ensured a steady flow of recruits willing to navigate this hazardous domain. At the heart of the Empire's reach lay their communication network, a system as intricate as a spider's web. The Royal Road, running over 1,600 miles from Sardis to Susa, was the backbone, allowing swift passage for couriers with messages concealed within mundane items. This infrastructure enabled the king to extend his authoritative gaze across his realm, fostering a conduit through which information flowed seamlessly. These spies provided not just a line of communication, but an insight into the regional pulse, enabling the Empire to enforce preemptive actions against potential threats. While ingenious, the system operated under high stakes. Betrayal by these spies was unforgivable, the punishment as severe as the Empire's stern justice could administer. Treachery, seen as a direct affront to royal divinity, led to dire consequences, creating an atmosphere laden with paranoia and care. This gravity reinforced a delicate balance, a pact forged in loyalty and reinforced with a constant threat of elimination, a constant reminder of the Empire's vast power. Anecdotal records from Persian archives bring their precise workings to life. A thwarted rebellion here, a timely intercepted message there. Practical accounts detail how spies once foiled a revolt in Egypt, their whispered reports heading off the insurrectionist wave before it broke upon Persian shores. Their ability to navigate between the plausible and the perilous was crucial, ensuring the Empire remained unshaken by turbulence. Indeed, these operatives played dual roles: sentries against upheaval and observers of day-to-day life. As a psychological sentinel, their presence shaped societal consciousness across Persia. Awareness of lurking eyes bred caution into the fabric of daily life, whether in the bustling streets of Persepolis or the quiet lanes of provincial towns. The unspoken threat of betrayal restrained vocal opposition, fostering peace at the cost of personal freedom, yet instilling a sense of security among the citizenry. For, despite the stifling air of surveillance, these inhabitants found reassurance in the notion that their king sought to guard them with unwavering scrutiny. From outside perspectives, particularly those of Greek historians, this network was both baffling and awe-inspiring. To writers like Herodotus, the Persian practice was a sophisticated feat of statecraft emanating an exotic fear. Unfamiliar with such covert practices, the Greeks acknowledged the strategic acumen behind the Persian Empire's cohesion, a juxtaposition of admiration and wariness, reflecting the broader cultural clash of their times. The legacy of these shadowy figures outlasted the fall of the Achaemenids, echoing through the corridors of subsequent empires. The methods they perfected laid down blueprints for future surveillance frameworks, anchoring governance systems throughout history. Whispers of their practices remain audible today in the stratagems of modern espionage, proving these ancient principles of surveillance undying in their utility. This tale of the Persian spy network serves as a timeless lesson in governance, a reflection on the power in observation, the sway in secrets held close. As we close this chapter on the eyes and ears of the king, we find ourselves contemplating the fine line between oversight and omniscience. Theirs was a world where power required awareness, a world where knowing meant holding the future in one's grasp. Through this delicate edifice of watchers, and whisperers, the Persian Empire once wove itself into existence, leaving an indelible mark that continues to resonate across the ages. In the heart of Persia, the ritual of fire worship blazed with deep spiritual significance, embodying the Zoroastrian belief in purity and divine connection. This ancient tradition, with its eternal flames, offered more than mere light. It was a beacon of the community's devotion to Ahura Mazda. These fires, steadfast through time in temples known as Atashkadi, were not just symbols, but living guardians of religious and social harmony. The flicker of flames echoed through ornately carved sanctuaries, becoming centres for both prayer and the exchange of ideas. Visitors like Herodotus were often struck by the solemnity and mystical allure of Persian fire rituals, marking them as both sacred and essential facets of life. Beyond fire, the Persians had a unique approach to death, considered peculiar by outsiders. The Towers of Silence, barren yet haunting structures, were where the dead were exposed to the elements, ensuring sacred elements like earth and fire remained uncontaminated. This practice was rooted in a profound respect for the cycles of nature and the soul's journey beyond earthly bounds. Elaborate ceremonies accompanied these rites, blending chants, incense, and processions that honoured the deceased, reflecting a deep cosmic understanding. To foreign eyes, this open-air ritual seemed unsettling, but for Persians it was a sacred duty, ensuring the passage of the soul. In the warm breeze of spring, Nowruz blossomed as a festival of joy and renewal. As the Persian New Year, Nowruz celebrated more than just temporal change. It was the victory of light over darkness, a central theme in Zoroastrian belief. Entire communities rejoiced, engaging in rituals that included cleaning homes, exchanging gifts, and feasting on dishes symbolising growth. The haft scene arrangement, an array of symbolic items starting with S in Persian, graced homes, each object embodying virtues like health, prosperity, and beauty. Nowruz was a tapestry woven from tradition and hope, a celebration of continuity and resilience that thrived across classes and ages. Hospitality in Persia surpassed mere pleasantries, transforming into elaborate ritual feasts where power and opulence were on full display. Within grand halls or open courtyards, these gatherings unfolded as epic spectacles where the host's wealth and influence were showcased through sumptuous spreads and rich tapestries. Historical accounts capture the awe of observers like Herodotus, who described these feasts as cultural intersections, merging Persian cuisine, music, and ceremonial wine into a harmonious tradition. Here, food transcended sustenance. It became a symbol of divine favour and communal unity, reinforcing social bonds and solidifying the ruler's prestige. The quest for purity permeated every aspect of Persian life. Rituals centred around water, a sacred element, governed daily actions and spiritual practices. From ablutions before prayers to intricate cleansing ceremonies, these practices aligned individuals with divine order and cosmic balance. Herodotus observed the meticulous precision of these rites, marvelling at the faith and dedication they required. In Persian culture, purification went beyond the spiritual, influencing personal ethics and state governance, establishing harmony as both spiritual salvation and societal principle. The Persians gazed skyward, finding divine rhythms in celestial movements, crafting a calendar entwined with their understanding of cosmology. This system synchronized agriculture and society with cosmic patterns, reflecting Zoroastrian ideals of order against chaos. Astronomers and priests interpreted the heavens, guiding both rulers and commoners in aligning their lives with the universe's cadence. This cosmic synchrony not only advanced Persian science but affirmed their place within the natural order, reinforcing a worldview of interconnectedness still admired by scholars today. In Persian society, garments spoke volumes. Clothing was an archive of identity, status, and cultural narratives, weaving social hierarchies into the fabric of everyday life. Noble robes, adorned with gold and intricate designs, conveyed opulence, while the humble tunics of commoners told tales of simpler lives. Reliefs and writings reveal a sartorial language that articulated allegiance and compliance with societal norms. This visual storytelling was more than personal expression. It was an assertion of collective identity, a testament to Persian ethos and diplomacy. Marriage rituals in Persia were complex tapestries of tradition and alliance, extending beyond personal unions to encompass political strategy. Weddings, rich in Zoroastrian symbolism, were vibrant ceremonies that reflected societal cohesion and aspirations. Particularly among the nobility, marriages were tools of diplomacy, reinforcing dynastic ties and expanding influence. Common folk celebrated with equally meaningful customs, solidifying community bonds through vows and feasting. These marital unions underscored not only personal relationships, but a shared cultural continuum binding the empire together. Superstitions in Persia wove together threads of folklore and Zoroastrian doctrine, reflecting deeply held beliefs about fate and the cosmic order. From omens to protective amulets, these beliefs permeated every facet of life, navigating the uncertain tides of existence. Travellers like Herodotus observed these customs with curiosity, noting the blend of rationale and mysticism. Though peculiar to modern minds, Persian superstitions unveiled a rich framework that provided stability amid chaos, linking the visible and unseen in a profound cultural tapestry. Amidst this cultural mosaic, nature stood revered, intertwining with spirituality in ceremonies honouring the earth's bounties. Gardens symbolising paradise served as sanctuaries for reflection and worship, embodying harmony and divine beauty. The Zoroastrian ethos celebrated nature's vitality, fostering a symbiotic relationship between man and the environment. Through seasonal festivals and rituals, Persians demonstrated an abiding respect for ecological balance, articulating an ancient dance of coexistence which resonated through time, a timeless ode to nature that echoed beyond borders and generations. In the grand tableau of ancient Persia, a stark social hierarchy sculpted the lives of all its denizens, influencing their everyday experiences, aspirations, and the rhythms of their existence. At the summit of this structure reigned the nobility and the royal family, their luxuriant lives marked by privileges afforded by divine favour, political power, and opulent riches. Wrapped in garments interwoven with gold threads, these aristocrats indulged in banquets that went beyond mere merriment, standing as rituals of wealth and power. Seated on ornate couches, they relished exotic meats, honeyed delights and crafted wines amid performances by dancers and musicians. Amid such extravagant spectacles, alliances were forged and favours exchanged, amidst laughter and the clinking of finely crafted cups. Yet while the elite revelled, the lives of commoners, peasants, labourers, artisans and slaves unfolded under the relentless sun of toil. Their journey was governed by the cycles of agriculture, bound to the soil, and seasons, where survival overshadowed luxury. From dawn till dusk, They toiled in the fields or honed their crafts, their hands shaping clay and carving stone, sustaining the empire without acknowledgement. Their gatherings were humble but heartfelt, tethered to local festivals or religious observances that broke the monotony of labour. Here, community spirit found expression through simple meals, shared songs, and fleeting dances under the stars, binding them together in a shared struggle that defined their existence. Even amid this societal divide, the beliefs and practices of the people highlighted the rich tapestry of Persian life. Zoroastrianism, woven into the very fabric of social order, defined cosmic hierarchy, matching the earthly stratification. Whereas nobles consulted Zoroastrian clergy and magi, believing their rule entwined with divine will, commoners clung to a more syncretic mosaic of faiths. Pragmatic rituals dictated their daily lives, a sparrow's sudden flight, or the whisper of leaves in the wind serving as portents, guiding their days with hopeful sagacity. Such beliefs, steeped in superstition, wove a shared, cosmological vision stretching from palace to cottage, threading a divine narrative into the ordinary and extraordinary moments of every life. In parallel with these spiritual pursuits, the pursuit of knowledge flourished among the Persian elite. Their palatial residences housed vast libraries, collections of precious scrolls, preserving the echoes of Greek, Egyptian, and Mesopotamian wisdom. Their explorations touched the realms of astronomy, philosophy, and poetry, enriching their minds as the empire itself expanded. Commoners, though distanced from such tomes, relayed knowledge through vibrant oral traditions, where wisdom and practicality closely knit the narratives of their lives. Skills critical for survival, farming, weaving, craftsmanship, were passed through stories, the instructive yarns threading continuity into the patchwork of daily toil. Pressing deeper into this fabric of life, one sees how gender roles wove additional threads into this societal tapestry. Noble women, though navigating paths defined by their male counterparts, were influential forces, subtly guiding political marriages and managing households with astute discretion. Their power was delicate, interwoven into the grandeur of courtly life. By contrast, the ambitions of common women were circumstantial, grounded in managing domestic duties and modest trade alongside fieldwork. Their everyday labour sustained family and community, their strength resonating quietly through cultural expressions such as storytelling, and craft echoing with resilience amid constraints. Delving into archaeological discoveries unveils the rich complexity of these lives. Reliefs and records starkly depict noble opulence, with intricate garments and adorned chalices, affirming their elevated stature. In contrast, the mundane remains of common life, pottery shards, simple tools, bear witness to their essential yet unheralded contributions. Cuneiform tablets meticulously account for labour, taxes and rations, articulating a silent resilience sustaining the empire's grandiosity. The empire's reliance on this foundation of unnoticed labour speaks to the stark yet powerful undercurrents shaping Persian splendour. Against this backdrop, the justice system unfolded, where one's standing profoundly influenced their fate. Nobility faced transgressions with the diplomacy of discretion, their errors quietly resolved to maintain honour and influence. For commoners, however, justice was swift and unyielding, with severe punishments reminding them of their place within society's chiselled hierarchy. Public lashings and forced labour served as visceral deterrents, asserting authority with a grim finality that underscored the empire's unyielding power. In examining this era, the divide between noble luxury and commoner toil emerges as part of a cultural consciousness that transcended Persian borders, influencing subsequent empires that embraced not only Persian administrative acumen, but also their embedded social stratifications. Today, these echoes of ancient Persia serve as a reflective lens, inviting modern viewers to ponder the intersections of power, resource access, and social boundaries. A narrative as resonant now as it was in antiquity, revealing the enduring legacy of such division across human society. In the shadowy temples and bustling cities of ancient Persia, the Magi, revered as priest healers, wove together the strands of mysticism and medicine into a singular practice that cast a spell over the populace. Their practices, described in sacred texts like the Zend Avesta, reveal a society where the spiritual and the corporeal were intimately linked in the thick tapestry of life. These revered figures were not only custodians of sacred rituals, but also the harbingers of health, approaching ailments with a dual arsenal of herbal wisdom and incantations intended to drive out the malicious spirits believed to inflict suffering. The Magi's healing art mirrored the Zoroastrian universe, dominated by the principle of Asha, truth and cosmic order. They perceived every ailment as a disruption of this order, a spiritual imbalance manifesting in the bodies of the afflicted. Their chants, poised to realign cosmic harmony, were delivered alongside potions crafted from herbs considered divine gifts, each plant imbued with both therapeutic properties and spiritual significance. In such a world, illness necessitated a holistic remedy, one that addressed the tangible symptom and redressed the imbalance within the soul. Notably, the rich materia medica of ancient Persia represented a blend of botanical knowledge with theological significance. Texts glorified plants like hauma and ephedra, revered not only for their physical benefits but also as sacred entities in religious rites. This dual belief system echoed through the ages, informing a tradition that would mesmerize scholars like Galen, enticing Greek curiosity with its mystic allure. The sophistication of Persian herbal practices, moving beyond mere folklore into documented wisdom, speaks to a culture committed to understanding nature while venerating its sanctity. The ritual of healing in this era was a spectacle of belief, where carefully memorized incantations served as powerful antidotes against spiritual afflictions. Each chant was crafted as a verbal talisman, reaffirming faith in divine protection and instilling hope amid despair. The dramatic cadence and rhythmic hum of these rituals, alongside the presence of protective charms, bridged the tangible with the intangible, allowing both healer and patient to navigate the treacherous waters of uncertainty with renewed confidence. Beyond vocal incantations and herbal remedies, Persian healers demonstrated ingenuity with techniques such as bloodletting and thermal treatments, reflecting a developing grasp of physiology intertwined with spiritual tradition. Water, sacrosanct and purifying, held a central role in therapeutic practices, an elemental force believed to cleanse body and spirit alike. Ritual baths and spring immersions were sacraments, rituals that positioned patients at the nexus of cosmic and corporal realms, reaffirming the delicate balance of existence. Persian physicians, two-footed in the empirical and the mystical, often faced a dilemma that defined their profession. They meticulously observed symptoms and outcomes, documenting early versions of evidence-based practices within a context that revered spiritual intervention. Their ability to maintain this balance won them the trust of their patrons, accommodational masters of an ancient art that harmonized scientific inquiry with eternal faith. Foreign contemporaries, particularly the Greeks, both marvelled at and were perplexed by such practices, finding inspiration in the careful Persian interplay between empirical restraint and spiritual indulgence. Astrology too wove itself into the fabric of Persian healing, hinting at a cosmos intricately linked with human health. The guidance of the stars was consulted not only for omens and propitious timings, but as a means to understand one's physical and spiritual constitution. This celestial navigation mirrored their belief in an interconnected universe, where the heavens played an active, deliberate role in earthly life. In the sacred halls of healing temples, where medical care mingled with spiritual retreat, Persians saw the embodiment of their healing ethos. Here, patients encountered a milieu where physical rehabilitation intertwined with spiritual renewal, where the act of healing was a communal journey imbued with hope and divine favour. These spaces reflected an ancient belief in shared destiny, inviting pilgrims into a circle of faith that healed through collective spirituality as much as through medical intervention. The legacy of legendary healers who stepped into these roles is testament to a culture that revered individuals who could bridge the mortal with the divine. Their stories, etched in the annals of folklore, straddle the line between fact and fable, illustrating an age where the possible and the miraculous walked hand in hand. Figures elevated within their communities often transcended their roles, becoming icons of wisdom and bestowing an enduring legacy of respect for the art of healing. At a crossroads of great civilizations, Persia became a vital conduit of medical knowledge, exchanging wisdom with Indian, Egyptian, and Greek cultures. This fusion enriched a practice that was as adaptive as it was traditional, facilitating a flow of information and advancements that enriched the medical tapestries of all interconnected societies. In our reflection on this ancient world, we glimpse enduring truths, the recognition of mind, body, and spirit as interconnected realms in pursuit of well-being. Persian healing practices, ancient in their wisdom, yet modern in their insight, urge us to contemplate a more holistic narrative in health, one that marries empirical advances with the timeless quest for balance and harmony. In the boundless sweep of the Persian Empire, where rulers wielded authority that seemed divinely gifted, justice was less a concept and more an instrument of cosmic order. Traced back to the Achaemenid era, this judiciary system borrowed extensively from the likes of Mesopotamian codes, such as Hammurabi's, shaping a legal landscape both severe and ceremonious. The records of Diodorus Siculus unveil a societal fabric where the rule of law echoed the great king's divine mandate, intertwining societal order with heavenly will. Through rigorous enforcement, these laws sought to harmonise the empire's sprawling and diverse populace, projecting both fear and respect under the auspices of Ahura Mazda, the supreme deity. Justice in ancient Persia mirrored its profound class divides. Here, punishment was as much about maintaining status as it was about societal correction. High treason, tantamount to nudging the empire's mighty columns, invited particularly severe retribution. Governed by an intricate weave of civil and spiritual edicts, the law was both a mundane tool and a spiritual instrument. The king stood as the ultimate arbiter, while the satraps, regional governors, enforced laws, adding local flavours to the imperial ethos. Yet, when insurrections brewed, only a royal decree could quell the storm. Justice's face was brutal and unmistakable, beckoning the lash as its most renowned symbol. Flogging, A dark art of authority mingled pain with ceremony, crafting spectacles at market squares, turning the act of punishment into both deterrence and testament. The onlookers, bound by fear and compelled by duty, bore witness to this vivid theatre, a reminder of the Empire's unyielding reach. For the most heinous transgressions such as treachery, punishment intensified to mutilation or death, mapping out the Empire's dual pursuit of vengeance and order. In the intricate dance of justice and spectacle, treason emerged as the ultimate betrayal, staring down an empire stretched to its limits. Tales from ancient chroniclers speak of dagger-edged executions, though these might often have bordered more on symbolic myth than practiced ritual. Still, whispers of dissent were quickly quashed by the King's Eyes and Ears, a vast surveillance network, which sustained the delicate harmony of loyalty over lands unfathomably vast. Punishment extended beyond the scaffold, estates confiscated, legacies obliterated, entire families written out of history. A ghastly symphony of power, unsubdued. The courts of Persia, a majestic construct of authority, hosted trials that manoeuvred through social intricacies and political undercurrents, especially in high-stakes arenas where lives and loyalties hung in precarious balance. Lesser crimes underwent swift local arbitration, yet the great king's shadow loomed large over trials of considerable gravity. Here, justice mingled with performance, verdicts swayed by the nuances of social strata and the mystical adjuncts of the Magi, sometimes consulted to discern celestial factors from human follies. The tales of infamous punishments have seeped into legend. Moral parables preservation as warnings, like that of Intaphrines, executed with his family for suspected treason against Darius the Fair. A lesson in loyalty and the veracity of power's interpretation. Such stories wove the unbending strength of Persian justice into the cultural tapestry, serving as both historical recount and enduring myth, cascading through generations as a narrative of the empire's stoic grit. No aspect of Persian justice stood untouched by the echoes of Zoroastrian doctrine or where the divine and judicial interlace seamlessly. Transgressions were affronts to cosmic balance, with the judiciary wielding power as emblems of spiritual duty, aligning human law with divine order. In public punishment's tumult, the gathered throng partook in a rite of purification, restoring societal normalcy, disrupted by acts of disharmony. The resonances of Persian legal tradition ventured beyond its homeland, planting seeds of legalistic influence in neighbouring civilizations, from the vistas of India to the realms of Greece. Persian order left an indelible imprint, colouring the administrative and judicial evolution of future empires, earning reluctant admiration for its systemic breadth and disciplined enforcement. Even Alexander the Great found hints of administrative acumen worthy of adoption as he forged his own empire. Yet the rigid thumb of justice occasionally veered toward tyranny, where power wielded recklessly stripped justice of its sacrosanct neutrality, becoming a means of personal vendetta for the satraps. A fine line between imperial intent and regional execution could blur, prompting whispers of discontent. The justice system, designed as a bastion of societal stability, sometimes crushed under the weight of its impositions, misaligning equity with authority's whims. Ultimately, Persian justice etched its legacy deeply into the earth it sought to order, its stories and laws woven into the grand historical mosaic of human governance. Today, as we linger over ruins and texts, the solemn echo of Persian law continues to stir the imagination, drawing modernity's gaze backward, a testament to the everlasting dance of power, punishment, and the human condition forged under the stars of an ancient world. Deep within the heart of the Achaemenid Empire, the grandeur of Persian society unfolded not only in palaces and courts, but also around the banquet table. Here, amid the opulent halls of power, feasting was an art. These feasts, marked by grandeur and splendour, transcended the realm of mere sustenance to become intricate political performances, displays of wealth, and opportunities to forge alliances. The air shimmered with the savoury scent of roasting meats and the heady sweetness of exotic spices as musicians played their lyres and flutes, weaving melodies through the clatter and clink of golden goblets. Athenaeus, a Greek chronicler, documents these gatherings where satraps and courtesans dined on delicacies such as sweet figs from Lydia, walnuts from Sogdiana, and the ever-prized fish from the Caspian waters, all testament to an empire's wealth and its vast trade reach. Yet, this culinary celebration extended beyond just the palate into the mystical alchemy of spices that played a pivotal role in Persian kitchens. Spice merchants, akin to magicians or alchemists, concocted blends of cinnamon from India and coriander from the Levant, creating mixtures that were a sensory enchantment. These were not only to flavour but to heal, as cooking melded into a form of spiritual practice. For the Persians, the kitchen was a sanctuary, where herbs and spices painted vast culinary canvases, each item resonating with stories and memories. Conversely, the common Persian's daily sustenance was rooted in the earth, centred around humble barley and wheat. Essential grains like barley became the cornerstone of nutrition, transforming into porridge, stews, and most commonly bread. This bread, warm from clay ovens, formed the core of the peasant table, accompanied by legumes and wild greens, subtly flavoured with local herbs. Life was marked by cycles of harvest, providing a continuity as essential as the shifting seasons and reinforcing communal bonds through shared meals. Yet the Persians were not divorced from the rhythms of nature. Their table celebrated seasonal bounty. Spring heralded fresh greens and the invigorating scents of mint and coriander. Summers bore the treasures of orchards, apricots, pomegranates and melons born under the sun's tender watch, while autumn yielded a rich tapestry of root vegetables and maize, underscoring gratitude for the earth's generosity. Even in the barren chill of winter, preserved fruits and vegetables, through drying, salting and pickling, ensured that nature's gifts enriched their tables year-round. In a land marked by rigid hierarchies, meat represented a finery reserved for the affluent. For nobility, animal protein was emblematic of their status, central to opulent spreads at a banquet, where meticulously cooked lamb and game were accompanied by the rich aroma of rare spices. Here, hunting was not just for sustenance, but a noble pursuit, underlining prowess and reinforcing class dynamics. For the average labourer, however, protein sources were simpler and occasional, supplemented by legumes and dairy, forming staple dishes that warmed labour-intensive lives. Perhaps none so captured the intricate artisanship of Persian food culture as their confectionaries, ornate desserts that crowned noble feasts with flavours as complex as they were sweet. Saffron, honey, and nuts transformed sweets into cultural symbols consumed at celebrations and holy days. For ordinary Persians, the sweetness came naturally, a gift from the sun. Dried fruits, perhaps kissed by honey's golden touch, providing an element of indulgence in daily life. Wine, that celebrated drink of the gods, flowed through banquet halls, a symbol of hospitality and a crucial feature in ceremonies. Persian winemakers crafted rich varieties that intrigued Greek visitors, the wine often spiked with herbs or pomegranate to heighten its charm. For commoners, simpler brews made from barley or sweet sherbet sufficed, communal drinks reminding them of nature's distillation into human unity. Amid such abundance, eating transcended mere nourishment. It was a ritual influenced by Zoroastrian beliefs, where food preparation was governed by purity and cosmic order. Meals marked lunar cycles, and superstition warned against mundane activities like cutting noodles too precisely, lest it curtail one's life. Dining rituals, infused with spiritual and agricultural significance, aim to harmonise humans with the divine cosmos. The culinary legacy of ancient Persia is undeniable, a tapestry woven with the threads of influence stretching across empires. Greek and Egyptian kitchens borrowed heavily from Persian practices, absorbing spices and flavours that rippled through to modern culinary traditions across regions. This cross-cultural exchange saw Persian cuisine evolve while influencing cuisines of neighbouring territories, its legacy preserved in the layered sweets and rice dishes that define global palates today. Yet, this isn't merely history. Persian cuisine lives on vividly, animating contemporary kitchens with age-old recipes served at gatherings celebrating heritage and family. From gourmet sabzi to tahdig, the flavours of ancient Persia continue to captivate global audiences, their resilience and artistry a testament to an empire that, through the language of food, continues to whisper its ancient stories. In the grand tapestry of the Achaemenid Empire, the satrap system emerged as a bold experiment in governance, a necessity born from the sprawling conquests of the great king. Imagine the empire as a beast, vast and diverse, its limbs stretching across myriad cultures and landscapes. To maintain control, the king needed trusted lieutenants, the satraps, each imposing their will over their provinces with a blend of authority and discretion. These governors, serving as the king's eyes and hands, wielded immense power locally. They maintained peace, collected taxes and managed armies, acting as almost sovereign lords. Yet, their autonomy was coloured with a dual edge. They carried the burden of vigilance, for the king's watchful gaze was surely upon them. Communication from the distant heart of the empire to the furthest provinces was a marvel. Employing couriers and a meticulous record-keeping system that kept the flow of information constant and precise. The clay tablets preserved in archives like the Persepolis Fortification Archive are silent witnesses to this sophisticated bureaucracy. By allowing local leaders a stake in their provincial prosperity, the system minimised the allure of rebellion, grounding each territory in its growth while ever tethered to the king. The wisdom of this system didn't vanish with the fall of the Achaemenids. It resonated through the chronicles of historians such as Strabo, who observed its imprint on successive civilizations. Strabo noted how the Romans and Byzantines, in their quest for dominion over vast, varied lands, found inspiration in the satrap model. This strategy, balancing local knowledge with central authority, offered an enduring blueprint, allowing diverse regions to coexist under a singular rule without losing their unique identities. As empires crumbled and rose, the resilience of the satrap system seemed a beacon. Alexander the Great, after conquering Persia, embraced this model, integrating it into his own strategy of governance. By appointing regional governors, he ensured continuity, granting conquered peoples a familiar structure amidst change. This mingling of governance models allowed for a seamless transition, smoothing over the tumult of conquest with strategic foresight. But the life of a satrap was a delicate dance of power and scrutiny. Empowered yet always watched, these governors bore responsibility for their provinces while navigating the ever-present surveillance of the king's eyes and ears. This constant vigilance curbed the darker inclinations of power, ensuring loyalty was not just expected but required. It was in this dance that satraps demonstrated their shrewdness, maintaining dominion with deft diplomacy and martial acumen, knowing that any misstep could summon the king's wrath. Economically, the satraps were architects of their region's prosperity, executing a complex tribute system that funneled resources into the empire's heart. The records in Persepolis illuminate the breadth of this system, showcasing a well-oiled network of trade and taxation. This economic prowess fortified the empire's foundations, funding monumental projects and military adventures without debilitating its subjects. Culturally, satraps stood as intermediaries between Persian customs and local traditions. Tasked with fostering unity, they respected and integrated native cultures into the Persian framework, avoiding the friction that comes with cultural imposition. Through blending architecture and ceremonial practices, they crafted a shared identity, sowing seeds that flourished into a hybrid culture, one that strengthened ties to the central authority. Socially, life under a satrap mirrored the broader imperial hierarchy. Satraps, often of noble descent, moved in circles of opulence, their lives steeped in ceremony and prestige, reinforcing the divisions between nobility and commoners. Yet, for common people, the satrap's rule could mean stability, a consistent system where their roles, though humble, were vital to the empire's functioning. At times, the serenity of satrapies broke under the strain of rebellion and ambition. These power struggles, though turbulent, showcased the empire's robustness. Rebellions were met with swift strategy and might, royal forces deployed to quell dissent and reinforce allegiance. Such episodes signified the delicate tethering of power, where each satrap walked a line between autonomy and loyalty. Militarily, satraps wielded substantial forces, tasked with defending against external threats and ensuring internal peace. Their armies, both a sword and a shield, stood testament to their dual role as protectors and enforcers of the king's will. This martial aspect reflected their intrinsic authority, a visual embodiment of their political power. The legacy of the satrap system is profound, its methodologies adapting through centuries. Even into the modern age, its principles echo within federal systems, where decentralized governance coexists with a central authority. This inheritance from the Achaemenid Empire underscores a profound revelation. The satrap system wasn't merely a method of rule, it was a masterpiece of administration, proving that the wisdom of the ancients continues to guide modern statecraft. The waning days of the Persian Empire unfolded not in a single cataclysm, but through ripples of changes that slowly eroded its monumental facade. The empire, while magnificent, struggled beneath the weight of its sprawling territories and diverse cultures. Arrian's accounts highlight how the empire's very size became its Achilles' heel. Satraps scattered across vast lands grew in their own power, sometimes prioritizing personal gain over loyalty to the great king. This growing autonomy threatened the coherence of the central authority. Compounding the internal strains were the external pressures, notably from the Greek city-states, which surged onto the stage as formidable adversaries. Their rise posed not just military threats but also cultural ones. The Greeks, armed with innovative warfare methods and democratic ideals, slowly eroded the solidarity of Persian rule, culminating in conflicts like the battles of Marathon and Salamis. The balance shifted irreversibly with Alexander the Great's arrival. Alexander, an ambitious young king with the aura of destiny, unleashed a campaign against Persia that was as much about conquest as it was about dismantling the old order. He capitalized on Persia's weaknesses, exploiting the disunity of its satraps and the faltering loyalty to the Persian crown. His revolutionary tactics, brilliantly noted by Plutarch, were a masterclass in strategic exploitation of both terrain and human dynamics. Alexander's invasion culminated in the sack of Persepolis, the heart of Persia. It wasn't just a city that is captured, it was a symbol of Persian might, reduced to ashes in an act rich with both tactical and symbolic significance. Persepolis' fall sent tremors across the empire, signalling a psychological defeat that was as devastating as its material loss. But even as external forces hammered away, the empire was corroding from within, a tale of internal strife and betrayal. The later Persian rulers, often weak and embroiled in decadent squabbles, oversaw an empire riven by intrigues and power struggles. The satraps, once pillars of stability, became contenders in a game of ambition and treason. Arrian's records detail a political landscape festering with mistrust and alliances as fragile as spun glass. The internal discord sowed seeds of betrayal, leaving an empire ripe for conquest. Yet in the ruins of the Persian stronghold, archaeologists today find whispers of grandeur and decline. Persepolis might have fallen, but its remnants offer vivid tales of hurried evacuations and forgotten wealth in charred ruins and abandoned halls. These remnants speak of an empire caught between fading glory and sharp descent. They are silent witnesses, suggestive of an eternal story, a legacy of sophistication even amidst collapse. Post-conquest, a cultural transformation unfolded, neither swift nor complete, as Persian ways meshed with those of the newcomers. Despite military conquest, the Persian cultural footprint endured, exerting a subtler influence over the new Hellenistic world order. Alexander himself, even in victory, adopted elements of Persian governance, a testament to its enduring influence. The religious and cultural motifs of Persia, particularly Zoroastrianism, seep through the cracks of new empires, illustrating that political control may have toppled, but cultural resilience defied it. The chronicles of historians like Plutarch and Arrian provide not just a recounting of events, but a tapestry of human motivations and narratives that shaped this dramatic epoch. Through their pen, we see the ambitious arcs, personal betrayals, and broader schemes that led to the empire's twilight. Their accounts, though coloured by their own intrigues and allegiances, weave a nuanced narrative of ambition and fall. Amidst all this, the famed satrap system stands out as a beacon of Persian innovation, a system appropriated by conquerors who understood its intrinsic value. Its framework for managing vast territories resonated well beyond Persia, influencing successors such as the Roman Empire. The scale and scope of its administration spoke of a genius that transcended temporal power, offering a model of governance that would endure in varying forms through history's march. Persepolis' ghostly ruins remain, a spectral reminder of the empire's once glorious apex and its descent. As Alexander's fires fed on its opulence, a chapter closed on the Persian narrative, transforming it into a lesson on the impermanence of power. In its reflection lies the empire's enduring influence. It offered future civilizations insights into governance and cultural synthesis, its blueprint of administrative genius imprinted on the souls of ensuing empires. The Persian experience, replete with triumph and tribulation, echoes as a cautionary tale and a reminder of the vibrant human spirit within history's vastness. In pondering the stories etched in its fallen stones and surviving legacies, we glimpse a mirror of the human condition, an eternal dance upon history's stage. In this grand tale, one asks, what echoes will we leave behind? If you enjoy this voyage through time, don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations into the past.